Dave Scott, Hub Media Video. We're back at Dover Apothecary. Haven't been here in a while, Mike. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me back.
This time of year, I thought I'd get together with you and talk about poison ivy and all those wonderful little plants that are out all over the road. It's the roadside and trail side that can keep you busy, I'm sure of that. But give us some background on what we can do and what to look for. I mean, I've always heard leaves a 3, leave it be. Stuck to that one.
That's a great reminder. There are a number of plants that grow in this area that all belong to the Rhus family. They contain an oil called urushiol, which about half of the population is sensitive to. This family includes the poison ivy family and also sumacs and poison oaks. So low growing vegetation, you usually find it in shady areas, under trees and along hedgerows. Particularly problematic if it happens to be in your garden and you're pulling weeds, or if you're camping and you happen to set a tent on a shady area. So classically in this part of the world, we see a lot of this in the summertime. So your leaves of 3, leave it be is a great reminder of poison ivy in particular. The other clue that a plant might be in this category is that they often have a reddish tinge to the leaves, despite the fact that everything else is green. That red indicates that it has a high urushiol content to it. So a couple of things. First of all, avoidance is the key. If you see those plants, stay away from them. Don't pick them up with your bare hands. If you do happen to get exposed, you have to remember that the resin in those plants is very, very tenacious. So getting it off your skin and also off your clothing can be a real challenge.
Yes.
We found that the best way to do that is with undiluted dish detergent. So this is something that wouldn't be a bad idea to bring with you camping, and if you get some on you in the garden, immediately apply the undiluted dish detergent to your hands or whatever else is contaminated. Leave it on for a few minutes and then wash it off, and that's a very, very efficient way of extracting that resin from the surface. The resin can remain irritating for several seasons. So people who chop firewood that's been laying on a bed of poison ivy can often be re-exposed for several seasons if they pick up the contaminated logs, and also their axe handles and their boots and so on and so forth.
One of the things I've noticed too, and a lot of people, when we tell people to wash off, a lot of people go this way. And one of the things with poison ivy, you need to really rub. It's an oil. You got to get it off you.
It's a very sticky oil. It's like an adhesive almost. So you really have to work that detergent into the oil to allow it to lift it off the surface of the skin and really rub it vigorously to get it off. Now, if you're unlucky enough to have the reaction and you haven't been able to remove it in time, there's a couple things you can do. First of all, soaking the area or compressing the area with a cool solution of either dilute vinegar or hydrogen peroxide for starters. And then to treat the inflammation and rash that occurs, a low-strength hydrocortisone cream.
Which they can get here.
Which they can get at a pharmacy, including Dover Apothecary. And also for the itching, because it is an allergic reaction, so taking an antihistamine, an allergy medicine, is very helpful. Traditional ones like Benadryl are great, but they also cause a little bit of drowsiness. Reactin is a good alternative for people that need to stay awake during the day. So an antihistamine and a topical steroid are kind of the cornerstone of treatment once you've got the reaction. And remember that the little vesicles that have the fluid in them that erupt may also have the resin in it. So if you happen to scratch those areas, you can transfer it to another area. So the key is don't scratch. If it's itchy, apply something cold to it, but don't pick at or scratch the spots.
And I think it goes to say anything in your garden or out on the trail, it could be poison sumac, any other of those types that can cause that hogweed that we talked about. Just be careful, right? And if you're not sure, come in and see you.
Right, exactly. If you see an unusual plant in your garden, particularly one that seems to be growing very rapidly and has big flowers on it, this is a member of the wild carrot family called giant hogweed. The resin from the giant hogweed is particularly irritating to the skin and causes a subcutaneous hemorrhage, which can leave permanent discoloration. So if you see an unusual plant, don't touch it with your bare hands. Remove it with a tool or with gloves. And if you do have a skin reaction from it, consult a pharmacist, and even better, if you can take a picture of what you were exposed to, bring it in, and we can tell you how best to treat it.
We only got a few seconds left, but I want to touch on sunscreen this type of year, and we were talking about small children. You brought up a great point. Could you just elaborate about that?
Right. So we always encourage adults to use an effective sunscreen when they're exercising or playing outdoors. But with children, it's a special case because we've got very effective sunscreens for young children. But unfortunately, if a child is in the sun long enough to get a sunburn, they're also in the sun long enough to get heat stroke. So aside from protecting them from the sun with the sunscreen, the best protection is shade and hydration. So if you've got small children and you're taking them outside or they're playing outdoors, make sure they're well hydrated, make sure they have a shady place to play, because they don't always recognize the signs of overheating, and the sunscreen won't protect them from an elevated body temperature. So always use shade as your first choice for protecting kids from the sun.
As usual, great advice from Mike Marini at Dover Apothecary. Thanks again for doing this. We got to get together more often.
It's a pleasure, Dave.
Lots of fun. Take care.
Okay.